trained detective. I mean, at least I know that go dilute somebody's and then make a timeline out of this person, because you make a timeline after you consume all this information. So even with Chidimma, that's what I did. And then the woman that I was speaking to, she said to me, no, the guy actually saved the family because they were at the break of being broke. King Safwa, when he came into Chidimma's life,
inherited took over the family. Yeah,
and then he took care of the family. You understand? So, and the fact that he's also Nigerian and he is also involved in other shady businesses. You understand? So that's now I was like, okay, let me now try to understand this. Chidimma one never used the flag of South Africa. She never even used to know, like she doesn't even literally like, or maybe Swana or anything, but you'll be surprised there is white people that can speak our languages a bit and stuff like that. So literally this person is from Soweto. She can't speak any native language. She has never recognized herself as a native South African. So immediately once she started to see that people are on a social media, then she started to delete also. And such a again, have taken everything. So the story of Chidimma now for me was like to prove, how is she South African? Was she born here? What year? So now you're like, okay, unfortunately I'm limited to do certain things because of I wanted to find the records of Bara where they claim that Chidimma was born. Because this government will show you flames. Will show you flames for some weird reason. And then nothing made sense at the time. So now I was like, okay, no, let me build, a timeline for this girl. And let's see what fits, what do I gather. And like I said to you, when you throw people out there and then somebody was like, I went to school with this one. Chidimma no one said, I went to school with her, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then I start to see now, there's this high school, they even put Chidimma's face on Facebook, and then somebody screenshots, like, Gwana, did you see this? And I'm like, okay, which means she went to the school. Then now I go look for information, because I know other people in Cape Town. And then still something was still not adding up. Okay, she went to school there, but was she really non-existent on school grounds? You understand? And then why are people so afraid to come forth and give information about this lady and stuff like that? So that's when it became now like a full investigation of this whole triggery part of it. So then you start to see, okay, Chidimma's father came here 2010. How old is Chidimma? You understand? Let's just start there. If 2010, and then they got married, I think 2013. You understand? So 2013, when they got married, do your math. You see why I'm saying like this whole puzzle. Even myself, there is still a lot of things that are still missing within the Chidimma era for me to just let the story go or let the whole thing go, because of there's just so many things. If they got married in 2013, then how old Chidimma supposed to be? Do you understand?
But when you were digging this, you understood that a lot of people will get fired on this. If the minister proceeds with this, a lot of people are going to get fired, and a lot of people are going to, this is going to expose.
I think it's about time, South Africans expose the identity fraud that is happening inside this country, and the people that are in Home Affairs that are enabling corruption, because it's so much injustice that today there is a 23-year-old woman, and somehow I believe that girl is silent, like they've silenced her with money or maybe threats that she mustn't come to the public and make herself known.
This story is so big, and the reason I keep saying that it has for the first time proven South Africans that they are correct. They are not Afrophobe, they are not xenophobe.
Yes, we are not.
The allegation was there. People called people names. and the truth came. She's now Miss Universe Nigeria, and she says she has
they must thank
always
us,
been
actually.
Nigerian.
No, they must thank us. But that is a very good thing. I mean,
Yes.
they should be even saying thank you. And maybe the working is Tampara or what state, I think.
Tamara.
Yeah, they must go now teach her the values of being a Tamara woman,
They
all
don't
those
know her,
things.
they don't want her.
I did see that, which is something laughable, but necessarily, that's why I'm saying, we have taken when I would say that probably in English, is that we have taken a lost ship home, and it's time for them to do the right thing, to co-opt her, to teach her, and so she can be a proud Nigerian girl, instead of, also falling into this system of globalization agenda that you are enough with just being born wherever you are born, but without you knowing your customs and whatever. I mean, we are very proud people as Africans, and it's very important that you carry those things with you.
The allegation that she had a baby, was it ever?
She does have a baby.
Ish.
And she got married. And as much as she claimed that she did separate with King Sofo, they didn't separate. It was just a lie, honestly, because the guy somehow was the first person to even post the picture of Chidimma when she was announced to be in the top 16, right? Yeah. So, which was very, very funny for me.
So, someone said, if the department, if the Chidimma family thinks South Africans are bullying her, why doesn't she do press conference and ask and answer questions? Someone said it will never happen because they knew.
Even myself, I'm waiting for Chidimma's family to sue me, because somebody was like, many people were threatening me that I'm gonna get sued, and besides just the sued part, now there was like the South African human rights that was saying that we mustn't even tweet about Chidimma because we are bullying her. So the South
African human rights pursued you.
Yes, at one side, which is quite interesting.
And on what grounds?
On what grounds? They said I'm bullying Chidimma. I'm making her my content, so. And
what's the illegal part? By sharing information? I mean, you are creating content and...
Yes, I mustn't investigate, I mustn't tweet, and they actually even made a whole press release, the South African Human Resource. Like, I think, this is the
South African Human Rights Commission made a press release.
Yes.
To protect her
against bullies like me. I've never even seen the South African human rights, defend me. I want them to defend me so hard. Can they just, step in?
And the reason is, I think let's talk about this part then, because I think we're at that stage. You, unlike the others, you came under heavier attack from foreign nationals in South Africa and people outside South Africa, attacking you, attacking your person, attacking your integrity, your religion, your looks, your spirituality, and South African. I'm looking for a good word. I don't want to say sympathizer. South African content, not content, influencers, as it were. They were joining in. Foreign nationals hate on you, and I kept asking myself, "Han, what have you done? Did you swear at Chidimma?"
I think you were following my content. Was I swearing?
No, this is exactly maybe I missed something.
Which is something.
The other ones were swearing at you. They were saying you are ugly. They were saying you are a inyanga. And
I don't understand why people want to shame me for being naga, guys. I don't understand. Like,
And for perspective, guys, I don't like when I do podcasts. So whatever we speak about, he, and because some you saying is destructive and stuff, but it gives meat to what we're saying, because you would not understand the attack that she went through. I mean, you were attacked, and
even by journalists. Remember this guy, Pule, ENCA.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually end up unfollowing him, and we used to talk a lot and laugh together. He said, "I'm bullying Chidimma." I'm like, "Pule, like, what do you mean?" Because I want to understand, where is the bullying part? Honestly. And they're like, "No, you are such a shameful woman, old woman, competing with Chidimma. You are so ugly." Somebody, I'm not gonna say.
Hey,
it's just like, even people like Chidimma Donzela were protecting Chidimma, and Chidimma is supposed to be what is known as the advocate of law in South Africa. And I remember I've not even done law. Yes. Actually, I end up, going into an argument with Chidimma Donzela, dragging her into the argument and say, "Hey, Wena, did you not see the landmark case of Polokwane?" Yes. And now I'm quoting as if I'm a lawyer there.
and then afterwards, during the bullying, and then that story came of the landmark where everyone is benchmarking on it. Being born in South Africa does not make you South African.
Yes.
And then the people were saying, yeah, because and I was buying that narrative that say, look, man, because I tell people with the Chidimma story, I relied on based on the information that I got. I was saying, it's fine, she's South African. She might have gone through, but she's South African, And come to think of it, I'm starting to think, where is the record of birth? Then I'm starting to question myself, because
no, the record of birth, that's why I say, those embassies and African embassies, they are purposefully and they want to give South Africa a bad name and say that South African government must document their people, because that's what they are fighting for, actually. And that's the reason why you even see South African human rights stepping into the issue of Chidimma as if she's the victim. You understand? Because I want to see South African, at least human rights, going to pursue the justice of the young girl that for 23 years didn't have an identity. And they will never do that. And that is the unfortunate thing about it. So with the whole thing of the birth records, in our hospitals, once a child is born, there is sort of like a birth record that South Africa does it for everyone. Even you go to Messina, where 85% of patients are Zimbabwean. You understand? That's how they are able to get into the system and start to buy illegal documents. Because these politicians that necessarily has implied that when a child is born in South Africa, then automatically they are South Africans. We are not America. We are not Australia. We are an African country, and we are not even the United States of Africa. That's another thing. So there is just so much that is happening that, this is where I talk about the enforcement of the law, and the people that are supposed to be the enforcers, or the people that are supposed to be advocating for the law and be speaking the terms of the law, like Chidimma Donzela, fail to do, honestly. Because she was emphasizing that Chidimma is South African. On what grounds? And when I asked her, on what ground did Chidimma's mother get integrated on? She's even today, I've never got the answer. Because you can't just have people that now, after 10 years of being in South Africa, then automatically they just think that they qualified to be citizens in South Africa. What are you bringing? Are you part of the community? Are you integrated into the community? And this is when we talk about even the African migrants themselves. Lebelela today, it's Heritage Day. Go outside. Are these people wearing any South African heritage to show that they recognize themselves as South Africans? No. But they want to speak of their heritage and say we are one, and So when a person is integrated, you understand? Rena ba integrated. The Pedi nation was not just built by the so-called Bapedi, Baramaruteng, which are in Skukun, you understand? Integration, it comes even with the food, the language. It comes even what you wear, you understand? I mean, you go to countries like the Danish, Denmark today, you understand? They force these people from Iraq and Afghanistan, when they get there, that you have to convert to be a Christian. And somebody can say, no, that is literally bullying somebody, and what? It's not, because tomorrow you're going to wake up with a new face of this country, and we have to conserve of who we are. We can't be building and then tomorrow must learn how to speak Sishona. For what?
Popira Matuva was criticized when she was speaking about this issue of Musina being plagued. She spoke up a lot about it, being plagued by Zimbabwean issues. She herself said they would ship pregnant people into South Africa to give birth, especially those who, I do not want to use medical terms a lot because YouTube picks it up. Those so baba tlisha kamo gore after pelego ba tšea ngwanola ba claime ba sue South Africa or alabe le gisha motho gabotse. So she went to town, she explained that thing, and she was still criticized. I want to talk about political parties. Gayton McKenzie came. Gayton McKenzie promised, but he fizzled out. Poor GNU, he fizzled out. So, which political party gave you support? Because the thing that you're talking about, it seems like it's not difficult. Just need someone in authority to say, guys, let's go and ask where is the victim? Where is the? Because I remember I saw that press conference and I reported a lot. I mean, the minister. And he came with his deputy minister, a full panel. They spoke. There
was even a time where the minister and the deputy minister were not speaking the same language. I think Njabulo, was speaking my language, and then the minister wasn't speaking my language. And it looked so bad for us because it looked like we were disorganized or something. You understand? So. No, I would say my party, which is Action SA, supported me through this whole thing. I remember even when we started to inquire, how did Annabelle Rungu end up in Nigeria and Chidimma? And though I did expose that, obviously they got diplomatic passport from the Nigerian embassy in South Africa. And our government is not pursuing anything. And even the international relations in South Africa is not doing anything about it. Instead, they said to Nigerians that, no, there is no diplomatic issues with Nigeria. I mean,
And I don't want you to write over this very quickly. So diplomatic passports are what people in the consulate would come into South Africa to use. So a case in point is when Grace Mugabe came to South Africa. She was physical. She GBV'd a colored lady because of her sons and stuff. And for her to leave, she got those documents and she flew out. So in this case, what actually happened and who can get this diplomatic passport? And after diplomatic passport, can you then extradite the person if the person is found wanting and they're needed for questioning? Explain maybe what you know, and then the others will assist us with that information.
I think, the problem, again, it starts again with the Minister of Home Affairs, Leon Schreiber, because he didn't cancel Chidimma's fraudulent South African ID and passport. And the same with the mother, and even the father, whatever he's using to travel. Because immediately once he said that we are investigating, by law, it's a requirement that they're supposed to freeze this. And then I was informed, and I think I made a tweet also, that one of the neighbors did inform me that Annabelle was no longer answering Home Affairs' call because they called her ahead of time. It's like, you're a thug, and then they say, no, tomorrow we're coming to you. Like, I mean, our government, guys, is so nice.
A lot of people were going to be fired.
So, no, but that is so nice. Imagine, I mean, we are not even afforded that. Like, you know, if
Ba o fitlhela fela.
ba no fitla fela ba no makala setse ba tsena mo ile ba roba
Ba tla tlhamolla di microphone.
when Mara, yeah, they called her. Like, we don't get that as South Africans. They called her, and then the next day when they get there, there was no one home. So to actually Chidimma now leaving the country, Chidimma was no longer in Cape Town. She was in Sandton. I tweeted about that she was in Sandton, given a certain apartment to stay in, where else the Nigerian government, the Nigerian embassy in Joburg was preparing for her diplomatic passport. Because once you are on a diplomatic passport, let me tell you, the police can't stop you. You understand? You can't get arrested. You can't get searched at the airport. So even when she was taking that video, that thing had nothing to do with her saying that I'm not running away, because people were like, no, she's not running away. I mean, where would she want to take? But the fact that there was no official even contesting, you know, her leave, and even if they tried to, those officials there, it will need the relevant department, which is the Department of International Relations, to intervene to say that this person can't leave. It's the same way how Bushiri left. So Chidimma actually replayed Bushiri on a much higher level with a diplomatic passport, and even her parents were given the same thing, diplomatic passports. So a diplomatic passport, you don't search that person's thing. Luggage, you don't stop them, you know.
Yes, you do
remember when our former minister went to Burundi. Yes, Burundi, because of her son was dating one of the girls there. So yeah, you see, we are living in a film. This is like a film, a whole movie, and you know, we laugh about it, but the reality, this is like a national security threat.
So, as we speak, so let me understand. The father has always lived in Nigeria?
No, the father is always 3 months in. He's got another family in Nigeria. So he's 3 months in South Africa, to what I've gathered. 3 months in South Africa, 3 months back Nigeria. But
how rich is he?
No, for me, that tells you what you need to understand when I talk about the white powder and somebody says I'm like far-fetching, or they're gonna sue me. I want them to sue me because we have to prove that in court, both of us, if I'm lying and if they are correct. Because there is no normal person that can be making such trips. You can't be moving like that.
I mean, even Mamelodi to Soshanguve is too far for 3 months this side. Okay, so the mother, where does the mother live? Because now she's out again. Where does she live? Is she coming back?
I don't think those people are planning to come back, and that's what I've said from the beginning when I started knowing that they are on diplomatic passport. One of the other ladies was like, don't also expose me, who was the cargo.
Yes.
Because she works as an pilot.
Yes.
So she's the one that saw the diplomatic passports, actually. So one thing was that, again, was what that was said by my sources, was that they are planning to go to America and stay in America. So yeah, Chidimma's mother, I don't think she's coming back to South Africa. There's no need for her to come back to South Africa. I mean, you remember the globalist agenda has money, lots of money, and they give out money to different people, different organizations, as long as people are pushing this globalization agenda of, you know, no man's land.
Yeah.
So yeah. So even us, maybe a globalized agenda somewhere and say I'm affected by by the snow in South Africa, and actually you are drawing me back to something very interesting. Do you remember the case of Pamela Uba?
No.
The former Miss Ireland.
No.
My brother, you're not catching up.
Please.
You must catch up with us. The case of Pamela Uba, I think it was in 2022 when we discovered her. And she's been Miss Ireland in the pretense of her, she's Nigerian actually, in the pretense of her being a migrant from South Africa. So she left South Africa to go stay in Ireland because she was escaping from Hillbrow in 1995.
Wait. What are you saying? So, in Ireland, she okay. When she got to Ireland,
Yes.
she said, "I'm a refugee
From South Africa.
from South Africa." And then, but refugee, Ariane from Hillbrow.
Remember, our passport, the reason why, like a lot of African migrants, and especially our passports that are outside South Africa, most of them are illegal passports. And that's the reason why we lost our relations with the UK. We are on the edge of losing our relations even with Ireland, because
People
they've been
fake our passports.
they
and-
go there, and that's been happening. Even South Korea now, it's deep on this issue because of there was issues of teachers from UNISA, and they were using the same serial code on their certificates, and then when they got their South African girls were getting married to Nigerians, so they can get housing allowance and other benefits that you do get with a South African passport. So even Pamela Uba, when she left from here, then she learned that no man, if I say I'm from South Africa, these people are going to open their country, the Mandela. You're
Yes.
from Mandela's country.
Yes.
Oh, come on. So Pamela Uba went there.
Definitely,
So
Chidimma
there's
is not the
just a
first.
lot. There's just a lot. That's what I'm saying. People are just, trying
That's
to.
why they're killing this story.
No,
It's
they are trying to
it's
paint
a
me
lot.
as if I'm targeting Chidimma, where else I've been doing so much. Unfortunately, people were not paying attention in that time.
Exactly,
And-
including me.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. This thing has been there. So Pamela went to Ireland, and yeah, she was welcomed because she's from the Mandela, South Africa, and she escaped Hillbrow. I mean, 1995. It was the only time when black people were even starting to be allowed to stay in the city in Hillbrow, because Hillbrow was more wide. So what crime or what human rights issues was she having there? Because it was so nice. And guess what? What is the reason for leaving the country? It was not even human rights or issues of crime.
Poverty.
No.
What?
Apartheid. In 1996. That's the year she left.
Hey guys, it's too much for me. And so the human rights investigated you. So have you tried to say human rights? Here are tweets of people attacking me. Can you do that exercise and see if they will follow
I
through?
don't think even Chidimma went to go file anything or a complaint with the human rights. So why must I now, go through that? If Chidimma was just afforded that by human rights without her filing, why must Gwena now file? Like, do you understand?
Yeah.
If the law is for all of us and the human rights are for all of us, not just for foreigners in South Africa, because it seems like, foreigners have more rights in South Africa than us as South Africans, and us as South Africans, we are silent. We are made to be silenced by so-called human rights of other people. But those people, even if they infringe our human rights, I mean, it's so even unfortunate. I think when I start to talk about, the infringement of human rights, those women that died in Polokwane, around Polokwane, that were killed by illegal Zimbabwean.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's an infringement on its own because of the person was not even supposed to be in the country. That's a state security issue on its own. The fact that the guy was luring those women with advertising fake jobs, you understand? It just shows a lot of things. And even when I started with that case, because particularly the mainstream media was not showing that case, the reason why I lost my first Twitter account actually, when I was hitting up that case, I remember people said I was lying. They're like, no, this one is a liar. What? Hey, xenophobe. What? Until even the case was now moved to Polokwane High Court, because we started in Seshego and EFF. The Bobutani Tanibasale go to go EFF.
Chelsea!
Fetcha, what's working on Rambi? Para kino ya kino ra se poche selo a shemna le ra ditsibela na tagatana o gatana. So yeah, so all those things. So that's what I'm saying. This thing. So I've never seen South African human rights stand up and issue maybe a message of support, or maybe take that case as a case, for human rights infringement for the dead, because of some people and some of the other victims are still inside the government smoke and rotting away because they can't find the parts Jabon. Because that case on its own, it started even getting attached to the other case of the body parts that are used in different shops and whatever. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think I must be the one that is gonna file and say human rights. Look at me, because Chidimma didn't say human rights. Look at me. Why is it that I must do the filing and then Chidimma can't do a filing? Like, you understand? So human rights, honestly, I've always had a problem with them, and not because of I'm against the rule of law. I'm against of how they want to represent victims. That's why I'm saying even the 23-year-old, why can't human rights do something? The girl that has lost her life has been denied identity for the past 23 years in order for Chidimma to benefit. Why can't they pursue that? Why can't they do something to show that indeed everyone's rights in South Africa count? Because I've never seen human rights fight for ordinary South Africans. It doesn't happen.
Okay, so King said so. Hlongwane, so you are one of those who were supporting DJ's Boo, and you yourself, you said people were xenophobes. So Hlongwane is a Pan-Africanist podcaster like me. So he was one of those who were saying, hey, you are all wrong. But then after this, he came back to say, guys, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It proved that people were right. So, and then he started defending, because people were saying, let's boycott DJ's Boo. And I just want to know, you interacted with Mima Donsel. Which other celebrity did you interact with during that storm? And then afterwards, how were things? Because now no one can claim that you were not right. I just want to know those who you were interacting with, those who were against you.
I interacted with DJ's Boo.
Okay.
And yeah, I used the typical Betty term.
Yes.
So,
Skadiras Buddha.
no, ke mudi tsa ka re le shoboro.
For eng bjalo?
A ke re o bolela, wa bona motho ga bolela. Ka sa ga isho motho a monna, there's a certain behavior is expected.
Yeah.
Go bontsha gore monna o tswa le bollo. Ka se do phaphela dilo, jo bolela ka re o swela maswing. Like a gona ga le ntwe jwa. O bolela.
Mara, you do realize you are wrong for calling him that.
No, I called him because I was like,
you were wrong.
No, I can ask guys, and DJ's Boo came up it. Like, Schoa was in there.
DJ's Boo goes.
I said, before.
Okay.
So,
no, realize you were wrong on Spoon.
You get a relationship.
Hey.
I'm going to throw a bag.
Mara, you were wrong on the man.
No, I'm not wrong, because even after now.
So you don't want to apologize to him?
No, there's no apology. I don't think we'll ever even reconcile, because he blocked me. I blocked him back. And Pel too said also, the lucky part is that Pel didn't block me because.
Okay.
But she apologized, but her apology for me, it did not stick to how she was saying. Okay. When you are
the
fighting,
energy she was using was diluted when she apologized.
Yes.
And you don't feel it was genuine.
It's not.
Okay.
You understand? And this is not the first time Pearl has gaslighted us over these issues of immigration.
Yes.
So that's another thing.
Please
so
link
people like what DJs who, even Bob Bonang, Matebe, and Botuli, Madonze. There's just a whole lot. It's just that I don't make a list, but I do know patriots would actually give you a whole lot of lists.
I know they do. And then I spotted something, got Tyla. So how was Tyla involved?
Tyla also is. She comes and says, no, Chidimma was bullied. I don't like this. The jealous needs to stop. Like, jealous, the law. Like, where do these things fit in? Like, you understand? And then next now she comes back and says, hey, can South Africans vote for me? We are not going to vote for Tyla. Like, well, guys, no. We are tired of these people. Like, you know, celebrities in South Africa, let me tell you, even DJ Sbu himself, when Mofaya was struggling, it was us South Africans that was keeping his brand alive. It was even people like myself. My old account, like I always say, like my old account unfortunately has been suspended.
Yes.
We were supporting DJ Sbu. We are not saying like maybe speak like Kwena because of I'm very raw when I talk about this kind of issues. But at least withdraw yourself, especially when you have not gathered every information. Let things unfold. You don't have to say anything at all the time. And Tyla said those things even after the Minister of Home Affairs has already said that we are investigating. Like, you understand? Yes. So you can't, we have these celebrities, we have politicians. I mean, even in Nigeria, their celebrities are way better. They fight for issues that are affecting Nigerians. Malobamo, Nigeria was marching against hunger. Government yabafa masakadi into. Life continued. Even the other celebrity, I can't remember her name, but I saw a video of her going to some state, buying everyone in the village a bag of rice. You understand? Politicians now were twerking to be part of her campaign day of giving the community. They are doing something positive inside their communities. Why is it that in South Africa we don't have such celebrities? So that is the reason why it's very hard for me to apologize to people like even DJ Sbu. Because DJ Sbu will apologize. Will apologize. Hey, Chidimma. Awina Orea, they robbed her. She should have been Miss South Africa. So ke ka mo ke re nka se le tšee lentšuleo ke a tseba gore mina go reng a kere ke gore ke nyaka go bontšha gore like ke meditše lešoboro because of ke sena sekgowa like guys my English got depleted so I was like ai wena lešoboro tena kwere mara because of ukushia spade I bona gore mo gona ina di kontanya di no
okay sharp let's okay Tyla o dirile so after abone even after evidence it guys there's something a wait and you spoke about how people should actually wait before baska ja go bolela. There's this clip but it doesn't show a voice, quite a voice note. I've used it in my podcast, but it's not. I've not verified it. Ke Floyd Shivambu. It is purported to be Floyd Shivambu saying, "Malema u jampile the gun," wanting to comment on the Chidimma way too early before, and they said, "Let's wait for the investigation. After the investigation, then we'll release a statement." So that voice note came after Floyd had already left. Do you know about that voice note?
I am aware of that, and even myself, I've shared already my sources that were close or are close with Chidimma's family did highlight. I think one of the tweets I did make, I said that Chidimma's mother, in confidence with the ex source that I was talking to, because the woman was like, I encouraged Chidimma's mother to tell Chidimma to withdraw from South Africa because it's just going to bring unnecessary attention. And in the response that she got when she was speaking with Chidimma's mother was that Julius Malema is supporting them, so they are not going to withdraw. So, you know, when Floyd or whoever linked that, it actually now verified what I've already written, because it looked like I was clashing on straws and, you know, probably using whatever disagreement that I may or dislike I have with Julius.
So, we spoke about your deep-rooted Pan-Africanism and the Sankarism, everything that was made you purely EFF and how deeply involved you are. And at this stage, people could actually see these are contrasting views. These are diametrically opposed political views. Is it a contradiction? And this is why I asked you, or when you were inside the EFF, did you harbor these same feelings of wanting South Africans to come first with South African resources? And what you just told us and what you were in the EFF, they look diametrically opposed. How do you reconcile the two? Or you think it's impossible? The EFF people, because remember Mpo says, to me, he told me 80%. When he spoke to Clement Manyatela, he said 90% of EFF members actually don't like this thing of not putting South Africans first.
No, they don't. I agree. Actually.
So when you
I would
in
say
the EFF,
90% actually. 90% of EFF members don't believe in open borders as much as I've been in the EFF. That's why I'm saying, like, not that because of, you understand, but nobody is willing to challenge the leadership of the EFF. And yeah, when you become a Malema fan, guys, there's just a whole lot of things that happen. Not just a lot of things that in such a way that I think, you become brutally like him. You're like, we don't care. But inside your heart, you know where you are standing. Like,
I asked this question to Raisibe.
What?
At Orlando, Malema chastised unnamed people who had social media influence, who were idle when the EFF was under attack. And he was, in a way, saying they must come out and defend the EFF. It's a very noble thing to do. But then I question this. EFF people that I talk to, even here on the podcast, but especially on TikTok, when they disagree with me or they disagree with my guest, the disagreement goes into swearing and it becomes distasteful. And I have to, Julius Malema does not say Barogane, but the way they do it, it's sometimes, and so some of them I meet them in person. I think for now you could understand that I've got lots of EFF friends and acquaintances. Like I talk to them, guys, but you guys have championed superior logic. Why do you allow your ground forces to swear at people? Do you not think this is a divisive thing? This is why people fear you, because of your unwavering, sometimes remain cultured in your disagreements. And then Ngozi once said, when you disagree with a cadre, when you disagree with a fighter, when you debate him, you're not debating him to lose him. You are debating him to win that person. And I find these two parallels so separate from each other, because I don't think Julius tells them or Barogane. No one of the EFF people says, no, guys, don't swear at people. What is this? Please explain it. I honestly don't understand. And I love the EFF. I tell people I love the EFF, and I'm not going to hide that I love EFF. But those guys, I know they don't love me, most of them. And MK people, ANC people, I love those guys. You would hardly find ANC people doing that. Hardly. ANC people who go on a campaign to swear. Yes. Who shape their narrative of defense on swearing at people and body shaming. Do EFF leaders come and caution their people when they are body shaming you?
No, they don't. Actually,
Do you think the riot act that Julius Malema read in Orlando saying people must defend, he was saying people must swear at people?
Yes, he's indirectly saying that. Remember, this is when I was telling you the command structure.
Yeah.
When you speak of the command structure, it's like, hey, when Julius says fighter attack.
Yes.
Do you understand? How a ground force reads that and how an ordinary person reads that. It's two different
things.
Do you understand? So even myself, I knew that I was going to get attacked. I think what do you call this account? Battalion what? He did mention that we are coming for that Limpopo girl. You understand? So now I was like, meet the witch on Twitter. So one thing for sure is that's why I say the language that is used for media purposes and the language that is used on ground forces are two different. So how they grab that message and read the message of defense, you understand, it's not necessarily how we as defense.
Yes.
That a ground force or do everything necessary. So that's when now there's swearing. I mean, even myself, I was in the EFF, and yeah, somewhere somehow I'd say so yeah,
That's a realist boo.
anime jokare ke ba feta dile ba bangwe ba ke ba fitile mo tsile ke tlo khumana bebele ya mahlapa ko EFF.
Oh, Kweda, in closing, tell us about the march that you worked on yesterday. You went to the union buildings, and tell us who was with you and what other political organizations were there. I saw Action SA, and they put their support behind it. Initially, remember I said Tutula seems to be doing this as well, because it got me confused. And who were the parties who were involved, who went for the strike and stuff, in closing?
You know, and sometimes I'm too brutal.
Yeah.
But let me just be brutal because of I don't like hiding, and sometimes hiding is not a good thing.
Yes.
You know, when this march started, it was not even my idea, honestly. There's a young woman in KZN by the name of Gugu, who's on a wheelchair actually. And since the whole Chidimma sagas, she started following me. She's like, no, Gwenna, we need to protest. We need to do something. So I'm like, fortunately, I'm not in the city. But yeah, let me connect you with us, Lolo. So you guys maybe establish a team and start to work towards the march and do what is necessary. Unfortunately, even with us as so-called patriots, we are not united, you know, and the issues that have been there affected us from 2021, and even when Dudula became a very strong brand for immigration, you know. So the march, mostly people did say that they will be supporting, but the people that really came through was Action SA and ATM and that truck driver thingy.
Yes.
Yeah, they were there, and yeah, we didn't have Patriotic Alliance. They didn't come through due to unsavory, you know, issues.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I always ask myself, because it's not the first one. Remember the one that it was the same thing at Union Building that Olani attended? It's something similar to this. Bad vibes were felt and stuff. What is the problem? Are people sponsored to divide you guys?
No, people are sponsored to divide us, and this is where I like literally say that, you know, even the SS has deployed its agents to be amongst us, and yeah, we got destabilized from within, my brother. You know, and even go to Tula, there's this guy called, I think Kiswu or someone. He's a Zimbabwean, and he was in the top leadership of Tutula. He won't even believe it. So we are actually, let's see, targeted not to bring these issues of immigration. And the only problem that is going to happen is that the government can spend so much money into destabilizing us. But the day when South Africans say we are hurtful, it won't be that, you know, somebody was leading a movement somewhere. People are just going to act.
So, and see, the reason I'm worried is I did not see the numbers that I was expecting yesterday.
Yes.
And Patriotic Alliance says they are happy to work with anyone who sees the same thing. That's why they joined the GNU. And I know politics play a part, and I know being in you also compromises you. But have you got a reason why Patriotic Alliance did not follow through? What did they say, or what did the rumor on the ground say?
The rumor on the ground is it's that they just didn't want to endorse the match, because you remember, like I always say that.
So political parties want them to do a match, and then you guys must join. So they can't join.
They can't join a party.
South Africans, when they
a non-partisan march. Do you understand? Because people have this agenda of making this whole immigration issue about them, or building their careers, or building their names. You understand? I'm not the person that was the organizer, but somehow people have gelled the whole march and jammed it around me. But I don't understand why are they not giving credit to Gugu. And that's the reason why I say Gugu is the one that wanted the match.
So you reckon Action SA might have, not Action SA, Patriotic Alliance might have thought, or coming there, they might be seen supporting you?
Yes.
Ish.
So yeah, it is what it is.
No.
So unfortunately, and Dudula said to us in the last hour or Thursday, actually, they called Lolo, actually they called Gugu. They said to Gugu that we demand 20K for transport. And I'm like, what kind of a movement when they said that they will be transporting their own people? I
think we need to close.
But
we need to close. Anything very quick, give it 10 seconds. Anything in closing that you think you couldn't say?
I would say thank you to South Africans for their support. And yeah, let's continue fighting for our country. And this is where we belong. We don't have any other country except for South Africa. So yeah, let's reclaim our country.
Thank you very much, Mashani, politically incorrect.